Well, let's start off with quarterback. What have you seen from those two guys the past week? And is there something that both of them have shown you that you want them to work on the offseason that they have applied?
Without question. I think both Jacolby and Drake had great springs. And so the goal was to kind of clean up some of the technique issues that we had in the spring. They had stuff that they wanted to work on. We expected to see that stuff cleaner, sharper, a lot better than it was in the spring, and they both did that. So we came in pretty clean fundamentally, and that gives us an opportunity now just to try to play the game faster with regards to decision making. And then when we need to do some of the athletic things like run the football or execute the screens. And so right now I think we're very, very happy with where Jacolby and Drake are.
Point of emphasis in the spring was getting rid of the ball quickly. And even last Saturday at the open practice, a couple times I heard Mac say something over the mic about getting rid of the ball quickly.
Oh, there's no question.
Have they progressed in that area?
They have. He'll be on that every day, and we're emphasizing it every day. We have Coach Everett out there clocking everything, okay, and we time it to make sure that we're running skelly and we're throwing the ball whenever we're doing it without an offensive line at the same speed that is going to be realistic to when we're in a team setting. And so that's gotten consistently better. There's a couple plays we're still trying to speed up, but so far right now is where we are in camp. I'm happy with the progress.
Neither one of them have played a lot the last 3 years, so how beneficial is the daily grind of the competition and keeping the edge kind of sharp?
Well, it's interesting you say that because that's exactly it. The daily grind and the consistency from play to play. They both did really well in the game where they split halves last year. Executed well. They had a few things to clean up, but they played relatively clean games with good decisions. So we'd like to see that translate to their play this year. And I think overall they have a very, very good grasp of the system. And the key in the camp here now is to take what we know on the board and execute it at game speed out here. And like I said, I'm happy with where we are. We've got some work to do, but the progress after 7-8 days is where we'd like it to be. I am comfortable with every timeline Mac Brown says is good, but we talked about it, and I think he wants our team to know too. And I think we want to have some continuity with who that guy is. I know the team's going to rally around either one of them, and I know the other one's going to be prepared and ready to go when he gets his name and his number called. So that's the plan right now, and we may wind up knowing before that. We may not know until then. So we'll see how it goes. I'm enjoying this competition as much as y'all are.
Obviously, there's more competition than just happening at quarterback, running back, center, the offensive line. I mean, is this the time of year you like all the competition, or is it exhausting when you leave the practice field and have to go through every single position?
Yeah, I think it's a much greater concern at a position or with your team when you go into the season without legitimate competition at every position. I think we have, because of the development of the younger guys and then the insertion of some of the new guys, we have more depth at receiver and a lot more competition at receiver. We've got 6 guys in the running back room that are, I can't remember when we've had this many guys in the running back room that are creating a little bit of mystery with regards to who's going to be in that rotation of 2 or 3 backs that we want to use in the offense. So the good thing is, at center, we got the same thing as you mentioned, a couple other positions on the offensive line. I think where we feel the most comfortable, and we have depth there, but we kind of understand our roles in the tight end room. So the competition that's going on everywhere else is good for us. And the finality to it is whoever winds up taking the field on day one has beaten out some really, really good guys. And then also the other, the indirect benefit is when you have depth, you can keep everybody fresh. So if we have 3 or 4 running backs, that can play, then we can keep everybody fresh. Same thing at quarterback, same thing on the O-line, same thing at receiver.
Who stood out to you in the running back room?
Tell me what day it is, right? And that's kind of where we are right now. I mean, Caleb has flashed. He has his moments. DJ Ford has been Mr. Consistency. British, we know what we're getting. Elijah constantly flashes with the speed that he has. George Petway now looks like a guy that's been through spring ball, so he's not clueless like we were in the spring, and I mean that in a good way as a rookie and a freshman. And then Omarion Hampton has come in, and he's done some really nice things. So Coach Porter has a very difficult job in just getting them all reps so we can evaluate them. And he's doing a good job of that. And so we're going to put them in positions where maybe it's not their strength to see who can handle the entire job at running back, not just carrying the football. Still got to pass protect, still got to catch the ball out of the backfield. And so we've got 2 more weeks to do that, and that's not a lot of time when you've got 6. So we're competing, and we're going to put him in some positions here and make some decisions very shortly.
So Elijah Green told us the other day that he feels like he's finally caught up to everything that goes with the passing game, from receiving, catching, and picking up blitzes. He said he picked up a fire in late spring, and that kind of told him, okay, I am where I need to be in this respect. Has he made that progress, and are you comfortable with him in all aspects of the passing game?
So Elijah has had really 3 things to improve since he's been here. Being able to single cut and change direction, and not double and triple stick our foot in the ground and change direction, and he's gotten better at that. We're able to stick our foot in the ground now in some of our plays where we're going to hit it and go downhill, so that's gotten better. He has, to my recollection, really been out here every single day, either catching on the jokes or running routes and catching from a quarterback, because his biggest weakness when he got here was catching the football. The other day in camp, he caught a seam route on a pretty difficult ball and looked pretty seamless doing it. So it's nice to see all that work start to translate into his play. And then as for the blitz pickup stuff, I think being physical and pass pro wasn't his strength when he got here. We feel a lot more comfortable with him at this point. I wouldn't say he's our best pass protector, but he's gotten to a point where he's competent, and if we got to play him, we depend on him in that area of the game.
DJ Jones said that he was thinking a lot previously because of the injuries, and they felt like he wasn't as loose in his mind, so he wasn't as quick as he needed to be. He said that's no longer an issue. Have you seen a difference in him?
We have. There's more consistency. You get consistency when you're not hurt, right? And so he's been out there every day, and when you get out there every day and you work as hard as he does, there's improvement. And I can't answer to how he felt mentally, but just in general with most athletes, there's the physical challenge of overcoming the injury, and sometimes with more serious injuries, and I don't know where his was, but there's a little bit of that mental challenge to get over, and some guys just take longer than some others, and he looks like a guy that's playing free right now, and that bodes well for our football team.
So you're seeing this QB competition firsthand. What to you stands out about Jacolby, and what to you stands out about Drake? Are their playing styles differ? Are they similar?
They don't look anything alike, right? They're different colors, they're different heights, they're different shapes, they're different everything, different personalities. So you couldn't have 2 quarterbacks that are more different from a perception standpoint, but both of them throw the ball awfully well. Jacolby's strength, he's an elite arm talent guy. He can make any throw on the field, really, from any platform, and you're seeing that in his play. And then he's got some mobility, and he's got a good understanding of the offense. Drake, probably what I think, and I've said this often, Drake has never been given enough credit for his mobility. He was classified as a pro-style quarterback coming out of high school. I don't really see it that way. I watched him in 2 playoff games, and his mobility is what made some plays, and that is lending to some of the plays that he's making out here. And then I think he's cleaned up some of his he's made more precision throws here in August than he did in the spring, and that's been really fun to watch. So the 2 of them are running the same offense. They excel at some of the same things, even though they're vastly different, I think, from an athletic standpoint. So it's a good competition, and really Coach and I aren't going to make the decision. One of those guys are going to make the decision by their production.
Max said that recently said this might be the best staff he's assembled, and he said the chemistry is very, very strong with the staff. This is your 4th year. How has the chemistry changed, and how would you articulate where it is now?
It's not that anything was bad before. It's just that everything's just clicking right now. I mean, Gene Chizik and I meet every day. We talk about all the practices. We get input from the staffs. There's a lot of input from the staffs. Offensively, I can speak to that by just telling you we've got, we're going on our 4th season with Coach Galloway and myself. I've got going on our 3rd year now with Coach Porter and Coach Lilly. And then I have 2 years in the books with Coach Bicknell from Ole Miss. So we're going on our 3rd season together. And so there's a lot of continuity and a lot of input and a lot of camaraderie in our room right now. And, that always helps. And so we want in the staff room the same thing that you want out on the field with the players. And, I think we're getting that on both ends right now.
So his meetings with Coach Chizik, kind of his daily meetings, he said that he can talk to you about what the defense has planned that day. There's sometimes we're like, I don't know if we're ready, but we'll kind of just take what they give us. Has there been a time when you almost thought that and been impressed by the team, the way they respond to something in the game, not a lot of?
Well, there's a tough aspect to practice. We can set up everything defensively and offensively for success all the time, and you can script for success, and that lends to a cleaner practice and a prettier practice, and a practice that from a morale standpoint you're going to feel better about after the day is over. But like Tuesday of a work week going into a game, or during specific practices in camp, you want to put these guys in really, really bad situations, because they're going to have to play in those bad situations, and they don't get better at those adverse situations unless they've done it over and over. I give you a quick example. Coach Chiswick and Coach Warren send pressures in Skelly, where they're now covering with 3 deep and 3 under, and it's hard to cover this field with 6 people, right? Especially when you're doing some of the things that we're doing, and they're dependent on the pressure in a team setting. But in Skelly, they're doing the same thing, and their guys are getting used to different spatial awareness with fewer guys, and we're getting used to feeling some pressures and adjusting some of our routes so that we can throw the ball faster. And I think sitting and talking with him about what he's doing and sharing with him what we're doing with the defense is helpful on both sides, and right now I think it's working about as good as it could.
What jumps out to you about Andre Green, and do you foresee him maybe working himself in the rotation fairly early?
So it's too early to tell if Andre will make a dent in the lineup yet, but right now he is in that rotation. What stands out a little bit about Andre, maybe more so than the typical freshman receiver that comes in, is that Andre is incredibly strong and physically mature for a receiver just coming from high school. I kind of want to check the license, see if he's 23 or 24, but I don't, because we just want him to play for 4, and we're going to do what we got to do. He's really, really physically strong off the ball. Corners have to deal with him physically a little different than maybe some of the normal type. Like Gabo Blackwell came out here, and he didn't get here as physically strong as Andre Green. Now Gavin is tearing up the field, and he's having a phenomenal August camp, and he also is part of the equation. Andre's just very, very strong hands, very aggressive to the ball. And so the physical strength piece of the receiver play is not going to be an issue for him.
I want to know, is wearing a sweatshirt in 90-degree weather, is that like a tough guy tactic for the team, or like what's the...
It's just something I've always done. I'm comfortable with it, and I'm as much of a baby in the cold weather, so there's a trade-off. As tough as I am in the heat here, I'm not real tough when it gets cold out, so don't tell my players that.
Did you have a hoodie on Saturday?
I had a hoodie on. It wasn't up, but I had a hoodie on. Yeah, Jeremy thinks this is funny, but I do. I just, most of the time it's, I work out in the morning, so when I get here to practice, I'm gonna get a little sweat in, and we'll go take care of business afterwards. So, but thanks for pointing that out. Appreciate it.